Am I the asshole for telling all my kids it's my inheritance and not using it to get them out of debt? Edit. For everyone asking why don't I give them their inheritance now? The answer is I am not dead. I can't sell our home and give them that money since I need to live in it. I can't drain my retirement fund since I need it to retire. I have 3 kids, they all decided to go to expensive colleges. I paid for their books, and gave them money for food plan, but tuition was on them. They knew from the beginning that college would be on them. My youngest took some community college classes to save money. The rest of the kids didn't do much to lower their expenses. They are all out of college and a whole bunch of debt. My mother passed away and she gave me the house. I am selling it for around $500K. I plan to use some of it for a big vacation and then the rest to go into my retirement fund. I decided to let the kids have a look at the home first before it went on the market. It's a really nice area and the house is great. They were surprised by the amount and all of them couldn't afford it. I told them I plan to sell it soon. This started argument about how I came into so much money but don't plan to give them any of it. I told them it is my inheritance from my mother. She wanted me to have this. Argument escalated even more and they want me to pay their school debt. If I did that it would take 3/4 of my inheritance. So I told them no. I reminded them that when I die they will have their own inheritance from me, but I am not dead yet. They pissed at me. If your mother wanted them to have money, she would have put it in her will. You told them that they would have to pay for their own tuition. They are adults. You provided for them when they are children, but they chose to attend their schools and accepted that it would put them in debt. Not the asshole. Info: how old are your kids? I am nearly 40 and grew up in a time when college was pushed heavily on students and student loans were seen as a must. As a teacher, I see the expectations have shifted for students. I'm not sure if this is true of all schools, but the school I work in pushes for students to take on an apprenticeships for the trades or start out in community college. At the end of the day, it is your money and you made it clear to your children that higher education was their responsibility. But I also remember not getting much information on alternatives to going straight into debt from a 4-year school in order to be successful. Anyone I've ever known who has borrowed against their inheritance, or somehow got it early, has led a financially irresponsible life. This isn't some kind of emergency. They just want to make their life easier with your money. Follow your mother's wishes and enjoy your retirement. I mean, technically not the asshole. You can do what you want with your money, but it doesn't sound like your kids will be getting the luxury of an inheritance like you did. As a mother myself, I'd rather pay for my kids' education than take a big vacation with money I didn't earn. Do what you want, but you sound bad with money and a bit selfish, I must say. This is not what I would do as a mother. Thumbs up, medium light skin tone. Getting old is expensive. I'm currently watching my in-laws come to the realization that their net worth will only cover 3.5 years in a decent assisted living facility, never mind a good memory care home, and their current living situation is fast becoming unsustainable. You are going to need that money. Tell your children exactly that. It would not be fair to expect them to take care of you in your old age, and you don't want to end up in a facility that accepts Medicare alone. This inheritance is part of your retirement plan. If there's anything left when you pass on, they should consider themselves lucky. AITA, not the asshole. My view may be skewed by the fact that my family lived paycheck to paycheck, and so I knew that paying for my own college tuition, entirely through student loans, was the only option for me. But not the asshole. It wouldn't even occur to me to ask my parents to spend their inheritance on me. In fact, when my grandmother died several years ago, when I had over $100,000 in student loan debt, it never did occur to me. Am I the asshole for not inviting my birth family to my wedding even when my sister offered to pay for them? I was placed for adoption at birth. My older, bio, sister was placed when she was 5 months old. We're 3 years apart in age and we were adopted by the same parents and raised in the same family. I also have other siblings I grew up with who have no bio connection to me. My sister tried to rope me into a birth family search, but I told her I didn't want to find them and offered her my support from the outside, but that was as much as I was willing to give. She found them 5 years ago and has been in regular contact with them since. Our family supported this, and my parents have met my birth parents in an effort to support my sister, but I still choose not to meet them or have them in my life.
My sister has passed letters to me from them and has been trying for years to get me to agree to meet with them and build a relationship. They keep saying how much it hurts them that I want nothing to do with them. She passes this on to me and tells me how much it hurts her that I won't be a part of this with her because our connection as blood-related siblings is huge and now we have more blood-related family, her way of putting it. I told her there is no part of me that wants to meet them and nothing I want from them.
She told me she knows I have to want answers and I said no.
I already know the answers. They were young when they had us and didn't want to be parents at that time.
She asked how I knew that and I told her I did listen to her after she met them for the first time. It's been so messy. I get letters from them about once a month and I try giving them back to no avail, so I dispose of them and have never read them. I'm not interested. I can't be more clear than that. Now I'm getting married and my sister fought for them to be invited. She offered to pay for them to come and told me she would cover all the costs associated with their place on the guest list, and I still said no. She called me crying after she had been at their house because they were so upset to be missing it. She said, "Our bio dad wants to walk you down the aisle." And I told her that's not going to happen and that them being upset wasn't a strong motivator for me. I also warned her that the place we're getting married at has security and we already added them to our package. My fiancé has a couple of family members we need to have monitored in case they get too drunk, and I can easily pass on info about our birth family to keep them out if she tries sneaking them in. My sister said I'm being unreasonable. My parents assured me they support me either way but want me to know I don't need to take my stance for their sakes. We had this discussion before too, and they'd be fine with them coming. My sister said if mom and dad don't care I should want my whole family at my wedding, and I told her they will be. I don't consider our birth family my family for real. Her reaction was even stronger when the invites were sent out and our birth family didn't get any. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Good grief. The biological father wants to give Op away a second time. Did he think he was fostering out his 2 daughters till he was ready to claim them as his heirs? The cheek of your bio dad wanting to walk you down the aisle. What Hallmark movie syrupy nonsense has he been mainlining that he might think that you, Op, a grown woman that has declined to ever even meet him, would ever let him have such a role, or even be invited to your wedding? Oh, yes, he thinks, I contributed sperm to create you, some decades ago. Here, let me have an honored guest role in your wedding. In fact, I demand it. Op, he might have been young when you were conceived, but he did it twice, you and your sister. So close in age, knowing good and well he and bio-mom didn't have the wherewithal to care for you. Once, an unplanned pregnancy can happen, but twice? And him and his daughter pressuring you. Apple tree. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. They can blame being too young on having your older sister. You were born 3 years later. If they weren't ready to have a child and already made the mistake once, they clearly did not learn their lesson. And it sounds like they're not going to learn lessons now. How on earth your bio-father thinks he has business walking you down the aisle is beyond me. He gave you away at birth. He doesn't get the privileges of being a father if he gave 2 children away. Hold your ground on this one, and your sister needs to let this go or she's going to create as big a distance between you and her as exists with your bio parents. Not the asshole, but I don't see this improving anytime soon. What's really sad is that if you choose to have children, you'll never be able to let them be in your sister's care even for a few hours. As you know, she'll run straight to the birth parents so they can build the bond. Not the asshole. Your sister needs to back off. You need to set more clear boundaries with her regarding the contact with your birth family. She can contact them if she likes, but you were very clear that you want nothing to do with them and she should respect that just as much as you respect her wanting to know them. Honestly, the guilt tripping is incredibly unfair to you. Your birth family decided to give you up for adoption, not an open adoption. If they regret that, that's on them. They should not be guilting you into getting to know them. You are leading a happy, healthy life with your adoptive family. If they actually cared about you, they should let that be. Also, your sister is an asshole for pushing the issue, but they are manipulating her into doing so in their behalf. Not the asshole. Your sister needs to stop this now. She has no respect for your wishes. She offered to pay for them to come and told me she would cover all the costs associated with their place on the guest list. Does she really think that the coat was the reason that you didn't want them there? Your sister must be in danger of not being invited as well.
My sister said if mom and dad don't care, I should want my whole family at my wedding.
No. This should be about what you want, not anyone else. Our bio dad wants to walk you down the aisle. I can see where she gets her delusions from. Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit my biological mother's children? My biological mother had me, 19 male, when she was 18. She ended up leaving me with my grandparents, who I consider my parents. I saw her a few times in the 10 years after, but then she moved out of state and didn't come back for visits. I believe a fight over me is why she didn't return for visits, because the last time she was visiting I was trying to engage with her and she ignored me. My parents told her she couldn't come to visit and act like I wasn't there. Because I was, and if she couldn't behave appropriately to a young child she had no business staying with us. She moved back to the state 3 years ago. This time married with kids. She was very different after this and attempted to mother me after all that time, and I shut it down with help from my parents. This pissed my biological mother off. She expected to be able to dictate to me like she was my parent and not a person who abandoned me and ignored me for years. The relationships did not go back to normal. My parents refused to let my biological mother back into our home. My biological mother said they had other grandkids and I had siblings who should be in our lives. They said it would be lovely if it were possible, but they knew she would not be healthy for me, and they refused to make our home uncomfortable for me when I had nobody else. There were some attempts at making me get to know her kids, too, at the time, but I told my grandparents I wasn't interested and they respected that and stood up for my right to say no. Now I'm an adult and my biological mother is pushing harder for this. She went as far as asking me to babysit once a week so I can get to know the kids and I won't have to deal with her if I'm so against her. I said no. She showed up where I work to bring this up to me in person and didn't respect my answer, and my boss needed to ask her to leave. I'm lucky I have an amazing boss, or she would have gotten me fired. She sent a letter to our house saying I should be ashamed of refusing to spend time with the kids and I'd be paid for the babysitting, and I am rejecting an amazing opportunity and have hurt her kids with my refusal. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. So your bio mother has given you the amazing opportunity of a babysitting job to make up for lost time? Lol. No. Sorry, I abandoned you, now take care of my other kids so I can abandon them. Absolutely not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your mom's a gaslighter and you have every right to not deal with her kids. Not the asshole. Your bio mom is just trying to get free babysitting out of you. Feel free to say no with no guilt. She abandoned you when you were a child and did nothing to support you. She has no right to be making demands of you now. You know this has nothing to do with your relationship with her kids because she won't let it go. If it were, she would have accepted your answer and let any relationship develop naturally. Instead, she is pushing something because it would benefit her. Your return letter. Dear Mrs. Egg Donor, I understand you are upset that I will not provide childcare. Due to your history of child abandonment, I will not be able to provide any form of care to your minor children. To be quite blunt, I am far too young to risk suddenly being a parent when you choose to leave. I'm sure you understand, as you were about my age when you first abandoned a child. I have zero desire to get to know your minor children. I consider the people who raised me to be my real parents. If you continue to demand my time and physical, emotional investment, then I will have to consider this harassment and proceed accordingly. Regards, Op. Not the asshole. You don't owe your biological mother anything. If you don't want her or her children to be a part of your life, she has to respect your decision. Expecting you to babysit her children is incredibly audacious. Am I the asshole for not telling my girlfriend I make more than her? 6 months ago I, 27M, lost my previous job at a software company. I had enough savings to support myself while I found a new job and continued to split bills with my girlfriend of 4 years, Anna, 26 female. We've always split things 50-50 as we work in similar fields and earned roughly the same salary. 2 months ago I got a job at Anna's tech company, doing the same job she does on a different team. Anna has worked there for 5 years and recently got a promotion. She was initially really excited, and so was I. Working for the same company has been a really positive experience for our relationship, except in one area: money. I make just over 12K more than Anna. It's become clear to me over the past 2 months, every time we talk about budgeting and finances, that she's assuming we're making the same amount.
When I finally told her, she was very upset I hadn't told her this before because she feels it's unfair that we continue to split bills 50-50 if I make so much more than her.
She also is upset that we have the same job and that I make more. I told her that's not my fault and that we should keep splitting bills 50-50 because my salary is barely 1K more than hers a month, and she called me an asshole. She's been sulking ever since. Am I the asshole? You didn't think to tell her that they offered you substantially more than she was already earning? It would have given her leverage to ask for more. 1K a month is huge for the salary range you're both in.
Edit to add. Unless the company had a damn good reason to think a male new hire is worth 12K more than a 5-year female employee doing the same job, she potentially has a wage discrimination case.
Second edit to add. Didn't expect to be the top comment. It's obvious you are the asshole.
Edited a third time, since no one seems to have heard of wage compression. Opening square bracket.
You are the asshole. You were working the exact same job as Anna, knew you were paid more than her, and you never bothered to tell her that she can ask for more? I've had total strangers be more helpful to me than you were to your girlfriend of 4 years. You are the asshole. Companies pull this shit because people don't talk about their pay. If you're doing the same job as your wife, why not support her so she can make her case to ask for more? It would be a win-win for BKTH of you. I'd say the major issue isn't the splitting of the finances, it's that you're almost colluding with the company to pay someone less because she's what? I'll let you fill in the blanks on what that could be. You are the asshole. This isn't even about how you split your finances.
You're preventing your girlfriend from advocating for herself when she, who has had the job longer and even got a promotion over you, is making significantly less than you.
She deserves to know you're making more than her so that she can demand a raise or decide whether she wants to work at a company that is underpaying her. Way to keep the patriarchy alive. What a dude. You are the asshole.
You say it's 47 and 59 at the current moment, which is with her pay rise, so it was an even bigger disparity before, which even if only for a few weeks still makes you the ah.
Omission is still being sneaky even if it's not an outright lie.